Hello everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Duval Mafia here, and in today's video I'm actually doing rookie evaluation number 7 for the Jacksonville Jaguars 2021 NFL draft class. And with this pick, it was round 4, number 121 overall. It was none other than Jordan Smith, the defensive end out of UAB. And for this pick, it's a hard one to really judge at this point. Now, I will preface this by saying everybody knew when the Jaguars drafted Jordan Smith that he was going to be an absolute project player. Like, this guy was labeled project player by literally everybody. Like, he is 6'6", 255 pounds, and he's extremely lengthy. And he's got realistically all the potential in the world. But it's just going to take a very long time for pretty much any team to really get any value out of him, because he's a very raw player, and he was in college even as well. Like, he had his flashes, but he is an extremely, extremely raw player. And it showed this year because he only appeared in 2 games, which was Week 17 and Week 18, and he had 1 tackle on the year. I mean, he didn't play much snaps, so we didn't really get to see too much of him, and he had 1 tackle for the entire year. I mean, there's not much to it. So this is a very hard pick to grade at this point because, I mean, it's not quite a Travis Etienne situation where he didn't play, so I can't really give him an NA, but I mean, we only saw bits and pieces of 2 games of him, so it's really hard to truly grade him. I will say the dude has an exponential amount of potential at his size. I mean, he is 6'6", pushing 6'7", at 255 pounds, and he's got long arms. I mean, he's very lengthy. Like, he doesn't look like he's 255 pounds. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I mean, the dude doesn't look like that size. Like, you don't realize how big of a guy this guy is as an outside linebacker / defensive end until you really see him on the field next to other dudes. I mean, he makes players like Josh Allen look small, and I mean, it's just insanity to me because you realize Josh Allen's 6'5", 255 pounds himself. Like, he ain't no small dude. And this really is going to be a rough pick, as I said, to grade. So, I mean, I'll probably give him the same as Jay Tufele, a D+. Because, as I said, it's very hard to grade players when they don't play much. Like, I want to say Jordan Smith's going to pay dividends in a couple of years once he's comfortable in the system and once he really gets a lot of, like, practice reps and really understands how to tap into his potential. But on the other side of it, I mean, it does kind of suck that the Jaguars had a 4th-round pick that really gave, I don't really know, much value. I mean, 1 tackle is not much value out of a pick at all. I don't really know what else to say about it, truthfully. Like, it's very hard to grade this pick. Because the dude played less snaps than Jay Tufele did. And, I mean, Jay Tufele was at least hurt. I know Jordan Smith was probably hurt for a little bit of the year, but he was nowhere near hurt like Travis Etienne or even Jay Tufele. I think he was just a healthy scratch for a majority of games, which I do understand because, as I said, he was a project player pick. When Urban Meyer and Trent Baalke drafted him, they basically said that, you know what, this guy's going to be on the back burner for a bit, but if we can tap into his potential, we think we can get one of the steals of the draft. That was basically what was said about this pick. And I mean, most of the analysts agreed with this. They said if you can tap into his potential, he could be an absolute steal in the 4th round, but it's just the fact of tapping into his potential, which is going to be extremely hard because he was probably one of the most raw players in the draft. And his draft selection kind of reminds me of Quincy Williams for a couple of years back for the Jaguars. It's one of those kind of smaller school guys who they have a lot of traits going their way, but it's just a matter of really tapping into that potential. And Quincy Williams, funny enough, is playing decent football, or was playing decent football for the New York Jets this year. And I do hope he succeeds. I wish nothing but the best for him. But this proves, like, if you put them in the correct system, these project players, and you give them a few years, they can start to grow into something. Now, I will admit Quincy Williams was a little bit more along his projection than Jordan Smith is. I mean, Jordan Smith, when he was drafted, they straight up said, like, this dude's going to take a long time to grow, and it's going to take a long time to get really any value out of this pick. But if he does grow into the player and the Jaguars are able to retain him for a second contract in 2 to 3 more years, you're looking at somebody who could be a legitimate, like, double-digit sack guy year by year. I mean, that's the type of talent that he has, but it really comes down to turning him into a 3-down player so where you can get the value out of him and turn him into one of those guys who can pretty much play every snap for you on the defensive side and give you production at the same time. So for me, like I said, it's going to be a D+. Again, it's another guy who really didn't play much. It's so hard to grade a player when they don't play much. And it's kind of frustrating to me, because considering the Jacksonville Jaguars had the #1 overall pick for the second year in a row, I don't really fully understand how these rookies didn't get playing time. Now, I understand Travis Etienne obviously was hurt, so he's null and void, and Jay Tufele was hurt for most of the year, and he started getting snaps. Same thing with Andre Sisco. He was still recovering a little bit, and they wanted to ease him in, and he started playing the last few games. But Jordan Smith, I mean, we saw basically nothing from this guy this year. He had 1 tackle in Week 17. That's it. That's his stats for the year. So it's like, it's really hard to talk much about him. And I will say, like, in college, he was very dominant at times, and he does have that potential. But this pick really comes down to if the Jaguars are able to long-term harness this and tap into it. And that's foreseen. I mean, we won't know until a couple years from now. I don't even think this guy will be, like, much of a impact player next year. I mean, I don't even know if he will be in year 3, being honest with you guys. I mean, he's a very, very raw player. So, with that being said, his final grade is going to be D+. I hope to see more from him next year, and I hope to see a little bit of that potential flashing, so this pick doesn't look terribly, terribly bad going forward. But without further ado, I am going to wrap up this video. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, and as always, peace out, Duval.